Sorry, before the video starts, I made a second channel where sometimes I might upload content that's more for entertainment than analysis, like this one.
That we're here right now.
I am as well, so scared.
Asking Cookie to be nice is like asking a tornado to calm down.
Which point she has gone off, so it's
Give it a check if you're into that type of content. When AleksiB parted ways with G2, and G2 acquired two ideal players for their missing roles, the lineup overall was flopping hard, with performance and consistency issues. But with time and perseverance, G2 are now the dominant force in Tier 1 Counter-Strike, reaping the rewards from Blast and Katowice. Meanwhile, an Ozzie in the roster was marking his name as the best anchor on Mirage. Hey, I'm Smirky, and today I want to look at JKS and how he anchors the A bombsite on CT Mirage, so let's begin. To get and sell CSGO skins for a better value compared to other sites?
Let me check. Yes.
Market.csgo is a peer-to-peer marketplace with over 90,000 daily trades. If you don't like the look of this current design, you can click try new design in the top right for a newer look, which I think looks pretty clean. To get started, just sign in through Steam and start browsing for the skin of your dreams. There are filters on the left to help you search, and specifically one that lets you look for skins that are much cheaper than Steam. If I click on a skin, I have a bunch of options I can use. However, one of the useful options is the ability to let you know when a skin reaches a price you like or automatically buy it. You can also view the same skin but with different stickers and wear on the right, like this cool design. Market CSGO lets you sell your skins and withdraw. Just click on your profile, go to sell items, and select the items you want to put onto the market. And you can deposit or withdraw money by clicking the screen button. If you're interested, you can check out the link below, and they're also going to be doing a giveaway which you can also check out. And thanks Market CSGO for the sponsor. Now, what does JKS do at the start of the round? Let's begin with his starting util. As every A player should do, they typically throw a Molotov out ramp, and with JKS's particular lineup, the peak of the flames in the Molotov will make it difficult for the T side to spot the CT players crossing to con. Combining this Molotov would be a flash, and this flash is used to help your AWP get a pick on mid and slow down the Ts. In round 9 we're going to see the exact same thing, and you can see Monitor is going to time his peak with JKS's flashbang, forcing any CTs who are holding mid to fall off. Now it's worth noting, if your connector player is going through A to con, then they should throw a Molotov for you just like Nico. In this round, Nico is going to connector, so he's going to help JKS by throwing a Molotov since he doesn't need it. And also by Nico doing it, it allows JKS to save his Molotov for later in the round. Now, what does JKS do after he throws his util? Well, typically he will find a position to play. When he wants to go to a position after he throws his util, he will always play anti-flash for maybe like 4 seconds, preventing him from being full blind if it was a rush or fast execute from the T side. And he would also know if the T side are rushing because A, they're throwing flashbangs, B, they will extinguish the molly on ramp, and C, he can hear the footsteps running out of palace if it is a rush. Afterwards, he can turn around and get his rifle out. One of the most common things I've seen from JKS after he throws his util is this. Again, he's going to do his util, but run to under while playing anti. At this point, he throws a HE, and it's up to him where he wants to throw it, either for ramp or for palace. In this round, he decides to throw it to palace, but if he would have thrown it on ramp, he would have got Saracen who was scoped up. In round 4, we can see something similar. JKS was playing anti-flash, comes towards under and throws his HE on ramp, but unfortunately doesn't find any damage. In round 14, JKS will get tested against Heroic. Once again, he throws his util, but he can hear the Ts in palace rushing fast. Because of this, he's going to call it so the rotations can come in. He will quickly throw the HE into ramp to see if he can get any bonus damage. Then he will play a position where he can catch the Ts off guard. resulting in him being able to double up and immediately fall off, preventing the trades from going through. At this point, he makes his way towards under, and because Heroic can know where he is, and he's pretty vulnerable with his HP, he knows he's a dead man walking. So just to be a nuisance and play time, he will try to survive for a longer period by right clicking the smoke, but unfortunately gets grenaded. This defensive smoke for under can be a really nice thing to play behind, and this smoke just causes the T side to put more attention onto you, as you're now a detriment to their execute, and they need to get rid of you, but will struggle with the smoke up, hopefully buying time for your teammates to rotate in. Now let's take a look at JKS's positioning. JKS has 3 positions he loves to play. The first one is under, which by far is his favourite, as the general position makes it difficult for the T-side to lurk out, and allows him to set up good crossfires with his teammates. His second favourite position is his general off angle towards firebox, catching unsuspecting Ts off guard. And lastly, he does sometimes play behind default, again playing off angles and pivoting around the site, going for 1v1s. Let's begin with under. As mentioned, this is JKS's favourite spot to play. From the angle that you see JKS holding, this position can allow JKS to catch Ts lurking out of Palace, not expecting him to be watching the ladder. But afterwards, he will transfer to this angle, where this angle is more intended for ramp lurkers. And with the exact line that JKS is holding, the T side is forced to either clear under or sandwich, giving a bit of an advantage to JKS. But something you'll see quite commonly when there's no noise from the T side on the map is this flash from your jungle player. In this round, Hunter's in jungle, and he's going to follow this flashbang for Tetris. This flashbang allows JKS to peek out and clear Tetris, potentially catching any lurkers off guard. But very commonly during the mid or late round, JKS loves to play this angle. And this exact angle is used to prevent lurkers from going into jungle or lurking out onto the A bomb site, making it so your AWP can focus on window, and maybe your comp player comes CT to play AA, or vice versa. In this round, JKS is playing under, playing the angle we mentioned earlier, and Monacy is going to throw a flashbang, setting JKS up for a kill onto Keto. In round 14 against Big are wanted to pop out Palace really quick. JKS, hearing them rushing out, has to pick one of 2 angles to fight from. Either he can fight for players dropping down the ladder like Faven is, or he could try and focus on players dropping from the scaffolding like Keto did. So these fights can be a bit 50-50, but you do have the advantage as the T side has to drop down. In this round, JKS gets the kill onto Faven and gets caught off by Keto. Keto, being scared to swing out, allows JKS to play time and allow the rotations to come in, where eventually he does die, but the majority of the G2 players are already in, where they will mop up. So in the last example we saw Faven go down the ladder, but as mentioned like Keto did, you may get players dropping in front of you. In this round, Heroic tried to pop out Palace, and Shush is going to drop down. JKS, deciding what angle he wants to hold, will catch Shush jumping down, but unfortunately gets traded instantly from ladder. Now let's take a look at Firebox. Firebox is also a very common position for JKS, and he will consistently use it to play off angles, intended to catch lurkers off guard. In this round, JKS is right next to Ninja, looking towards Palace, preventing the T-sides from walking out, while being hidden from ramp. But it is worth noting he will occasionally check ramp to prevent any lurkers coming out of ramp. But specifically in this round, JKS has to fall off a little bit as he's open to connector since Big has got control. If JKS was to stay in his position, his back would be completely exposed to connector, potentially giving a freebie to Big. In round 15, JKS will play the exact same angle where Big will execute onto the A bomb site. JKS will try to isolate the Palace player, but unfortunately he doesn't show himself, so to try and get a kill before he gets completely overwhelmed and shut down, He will first peek Tetris, as it's pretty common, especially in pugs, for a T-sided player to go up there. But he will later peek out to Sandwich, where Crimbo shows his back. Now, I would say he gets the kill, but flashbangs for you. Our last example of him using the firebox is round 13 against Heroic. JKS is playing a bit closer to the firebox. However, Heroic make it known that they're executing onto the A bomb site. As a result, he first tries to play this angle as Palace is smoked off, and it looks like this angle is intended to catch the entry pathing from the T side. But when no one shows himself, he wants to try and isolate a 1v1 to see if he can multi-frag on the site. So he's going to peek out Sandwich and catch his 1v1 onto Yabe, using the site to prevent Starn from getting the instant trade. After getting the kill, he tries to fall away and throw the smoke. This smoke would allow him to cross the triple and default, making it really difficult for Heroic to weave him out. But unfortunately, Shush pushes out of Palace when no one was holding it. And just so you know, this is what the smoke would look like. You throw it between triple and default, you can play around it, you can move it to triple, you can hide in it. It just makes it really difficult for the T side to weave you out. But I will say the smoke can be situational. If the T side are fast out onto the A site, you don't really want to be throwing the smoke when they're in your face. So at times you might just want to go for the 1v1s on default. Now speaking of default, this position is less played than firebox or especially under, but it is still a position JKS will frequently play throughout a game. In this round, JKS is throwing his starting util and crosses the default, where he gets flashed from the T side. Wanting to gather information, he goes for a quick juggle peek where he spots Shush, then rips his head off. And as I've been banging on about, that peek was a perfect example of trying to isolate your angle. With that peek, he only had a sliver to work with, making it so if there were any other big players, it would be difficult for them to trade Sirison. At this point though, he switches his positioning to under, as the T side knows he's playing default. Now the last angle you could take while playing default is this one. This is a pretty similar angle to the firebox, as your intentions is to hide from ramp and isolate the Palace player. A lot of time will pass while he's holding this angle, and he will later go for a check on ramp. First cleaning Sandwich in Tetris, and then slowly peeking out of ramp. Again, trying to take 1v1 angles rather than just swinging out. Now our last position is CT, and to be honest, I only saw JKS play this once in 2 games, but I will say you want to play this angle if you have no one else to help you on A, or you want to play a bit safe when it's an eco. In this round you can see JKS is just jiggling on ramp, while he has a teammate holding Palace. Now, on quite a few occasions on the A bomb site, JKS may get doubled up with Nico, usually in the mid or late round. Whenever this double up happens, it's usually Nico coming away from connector onto the A bomb site and choosing a position based off JKS's. In this round we can see JKS is playing the off angle towards firebox, and Nico decided to move his way into Sandwich. And in this round it works pretty well. JKS is jiggling between ramp and Palace, peeks out of ramp where he gets into a fight with Keto, but unfortunately loses. But as Keto wasn't expecting a second A player, he gets traded. Another setup you could do is this one, where in this round Nico's in CT watching ramp, and JKS jumps on top of these bricks to look into Palace. I would say this is a very good 1-2 combo. Nico can take the first contact and JKS can easily turn around, or vice versa if it's Palace. But it isn't going to last for long, as the smoke is soon to fade, and JKS plays close ramp as Nico gets their attention. The last position I want to cover is under. Doubling up in under can be super effective. Hunter is the short player, but even if it's Nico who's the comp player, it still works. JKS takes the initial contact, and if he does die, the T side will think they cleared the A player, but there's another one waiting. And you can see JKS will commit to this idea, as later in the round he's going to drop his smoke for Hunter. So if they get mollied, Hunter can put out the molly, JKS can fight, and Hunter can hide, setting Hunter up. Now, when should you use your smokes on the A bomb site? We've already seen earlier that JKS will use his smokes if it's an execute, either for under or on the site. But there are scenarios where JKS doesn't use his smoke for the executes, and uses it a bit earlier. In this round, the time is getting pretty low, around the 40-second mark, and the T-side has made no noise across the map, and are currently grouping up behind ramp. So, JKS will make the perfect call in smoking it off. Because JKS threw the smoke under the 40-second mark, the smoke will fade around the 15-second mark, giving very little time for Big to execute onto the site with 3 people. Because of the smoke, they're just gonna save. In round 4 against Big, we can see something similar. The CT side has gained mid control and has heard no noise whatsoever. As a result, he's gonna throw smoke onto ramp, just in case if it was an A execute, and also buying time for his teammates to rotate from mid back into the A site. Now lastly, I want to talk about JKS's aggression. The meta on the CT side currently is that CTs are super proactive with map control. If the T side takes one part of an area, the CT side feels obligated to push into another. And Heroic really established this trend, and I made a video about it here. So when does JKS push? Well, let's have a look when he does it at the start of the round. In this round, JKS and Monity will play together, and JKS will throw his starting util. But he's going to peek behind his molly and nade, looking for a potential frag. In this round he doesn't get it, but it allows his teammate in Monity to scope up, meanwhile he can clear his angles. Afterwards, he's going to reposition into this angle, and this is a very strong setup. You have Monity watching ramp with an AWP, so if any Ts show themselves, they should just get destroyed. And if Monity needs help, JKS can also swing out and assist, giving that unsuspecting element. And for apps, JKS can tap the heads when the T side tries to lurk out. But this setup doesn't last for long, as Heroic take mid control, so as a result, JKS pushes into ramp and takes away some control of their own. And like round 8, in round 11 we're going to see something similar. Heroic has taken mid control quite early, and could do a lot with it. So as a result, JKS will push into Palace, clearing his angles and playing a nasty off angle, waiting for any Ts to walk right into his crosshair. Now a very common scenario for JKS to push ramp or Palace is if the T side pressure B. Throughout the demos I watched, I noticed this was a constant pattern. If the T side tried to pressure B, like execute it or show presence, JKS will push into ramp, again taking away map control. And whereas most A players will think, oh, they're executing B, I'll rotate to help, it does actually make sense to push into ramp or Palace. As the A anchor, you should be the last person rotating, and it does take the longest time for you to rotate in to help. So why not take the opportunity to push into A and take away map control? Like in round 4 where Heroic tried to push into B but it fails. As a reaction of it failing, they try to quickly go into connector onto the A bomb site, but they wasn't expecting JKS to be inside of Palace, setting G2 up for the round win. Now, after watching JKS's demos, I've noticed his positioning can be quite predictable. Because JKS only really plays in 3 different positions, and 2 of which are right next to each other, it can make the clears for the T side an easier job, as they should roughly know his whereabouts, if they watch his demos. But you should be fine if your opponent hasn't been studying your demos. He's reactive. JKS understands he needs to fight back and take back map control when the T side does something, rather than just sitting there and being static. The A site is a very common map, especially in pugs where the T side will try to lurk out of Palace or ramp. Because of this, he is frequently checking either entrances and positions himself to not be exposed. Tired of gamble stacking on Inferno CT pistols and just losing the round? Check out this amazing G2 pistol in the description, where G2 had a lot of reaction prepared just on a pistol. Apart from that, thanks for watching. Thanks Market CSGO for the sponsor. See you in a bit.